Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bling Report, Trends that Sparkle. I'm Courtney Kubitza with Stahls TV, and today we're going to talk about that growing trend, bling, the sparkle, glitter, metallics, and all of that has just taken the industry by storm over the last 5 years and how you can start making money with it and different trends that we're seeing with that type of style. If this is your first Stahls TV session, there's a couple people that are going to be helping me throughout the class so we can get the live experience that you guys are looking for and make it as hands-on as possible. With that, Jody Edgar, she's actually going to be facilitating our chat questions. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll notice a control panel. That's going to allow you to open that up, chat in your questions as I'm heat applying, as I'm decorating things and questions that you have, and we'll be able to answer them on screen. Secondly is Taylor Hackley. Taylor works in our video production department for Stahls TV, and she'll be helping to zoom in on the angles and get me some different shots so you guys can see the true bling and a lot of these garments and how it's going to stand out to your customers. So before we get started, I want to get to know you guys a little bit so I know who I'm talking to in my audience. So we have a few poll questions that we're going to launch. Jody, if you want to go ahead and launch the first one, it's asking about the equipment that you have. So if you can just go ahead and fill in if you have a heat press, cutter, screen printing equipment, embroidery, so we know, and you can pick more than one as well, so we know what kind of equipment you guys have to decorate today. All right, so it looks like we're going to close the poll there. Jody, if you want to read the results.
100% press.
Okay.
91% vinyl cutter. 26% solvent with solvent printer. 35% embroidery machine. 21% screen printer.
Okay, great. So the good news is 100% of you guys have a heat press already, which is what this is going to center around and how to decorate and customize apparel with that. And 91% of you had a vinyl cutter, which is great because one of the main products that we're going to be using in this class is called Catgut Glitter Flake, and we're going to talk about different ways to use that as well as some metallic films with your vinyl cutter to really take bling to the next level and what kind of garments are going to allow you to do that and make the most profit per piece. One more poll question, Jody, before we dive into the classroom. And that's just going to be so I can know whether or not you guys are decorating with bling today, so I can get an idea of whether or not this is a new market for you or something you've already started to capture. Okay, so it's like 74% yes. So for those of you guys that are decorating with bling, I'm sure you've already seen that the market allows you to make a lot of money with this specific decoration technique. And I'm excited to show you guys. I'm fresh off the ISS Atlantic City show as well as a variety of other trade shows at the start of the year. And the good news is that bling is still trending and becoming very popular in decoration among a lot of different decorators. So to get started, I'm going to start with a high margin garment decorating with single color CAD color glitter flake. To do this, I'm going to head over to my Hotronics Fusion heat press and load my garment on. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the Hotronics Fusion heat press, it's completely threadable underneath, so it's going to allow me to decorate a variety of items. The first garment I'm going to be decorating is actually a cotton Letterman's jacket or varsity jacket from Sanmar. It's in their Sport Tech line. It's a great, soft, lightweight jacket if you're looking to decorate for different school markets. Because of the buttons, obviously, I'll have a few challenges when I'm going to heat print this type of item. So I'm just going to split it open and thread it onto my Hotronics heat press. Now, if you don't have a heat press that allows you the threadability, if you have a clam style press, it's going to allow you to add a caddy that can open it up to do these types of things. Aside from that, you could use a heat printing pillow to separate the buttons so that they don't get into the way and cause an inaccurate pressure on the top of the jacket. Just going to shuttle that in, give it a quick preheat. Preheats allow me to adjust the pressure if needed. The Hotronics Fusion has an over-the-center pressure adjustment knob at the top, so I can turn it until I get the medium pressure reading out on the screen that I need for the Catgut Glitter Flake product. Yep, looks like a 5. That's perfect. So I've got my preheat, checked my pressure. And then I'm going to take my Catgut Glitter Flake design that I've cut for the back of this jacket. Now, Catgut Glitter Flake comes in 38 different colors, but of course I just chose a simple silver just to mask the black, white, and gray colors of the school. I'll line this up on the back of the jacket. Again, I'm going about 5 inches down from the top of the collar of the jacket, somewhere in between the shoulder blades to be an accurate print. Just going to turn my fusion back around here and heat press this for the recommended application. If you haven't seen Catgut Glitter Flake before, this product applies at 320 degrees for 10 seconds, so it's a very fast, easy way to get a glitter finish onto apparel, especially for customization. Peel the carrier back so you guys can get a nice view of the finish. Now the interesting thing about this product is, aside from screen printed glitters, for those of you that are screen printers, there's no cracking, no peeling, no problems like that. It's 100% durable for the life of the garment. So it makes for a nice decoration on top of a jacket like this. Of course, I personalized the back and made a nice finish, but I want to be able to add a name to the front. It's inexpensive to be able to cut a small 4-inch wide name and personalize the front of the jacket to be able to sell it for more money. And I'm going to do this in a complementing glitter flake color. Now to do this, again, remember that I've got issues with these snaps that I'm going to have to worry about when I thread this onto the heat press. For that, I'm going to change out my 16 by 20 and just drop in a 6 by 10, which is perfect for left chest prints. Now I'll be able to take my jacket, and where I was once worried about the snaps, they'll fall off the heat press, as well as this large seam here that could get into the way and cause a mark on the jacket. Now I've got a completely flat print surface ready to preheat and apply my left chest graphic to personalize. Got a quick preheat in there. I'll apply this for the recommended application. Whenever you're applying left chest graphics, of course, you want to make sure not to go too low or too far over down into the arm. So I want to go about 3 inches down and 3 inches over from the center of my jacket. And again, just another 10 seconds on this application. The cost for Catgut Glitter Flake is inexpensive as well. You're looking at about 2 cents a square inch if you're cutting this yourself on your vinyl cutters. It's a lot if you have that cutter. This is about where you're going to end up for this type of design. So for the back print, we'd be looking at about $1 for that design, and you'd be looking for about 50 cents on the front here. So in $1.50, we have a completely personalized front and back of a Letterman's jacket decorated with glitter flake. Now, of course, one-color designs are great, but a lot of decorators are always asking questions on how do I customize something with two-color glitter flake. Two-color graphics present a variety of challenges as well as you're decorating for apparel, especially with specialty products like the Catgut Glitter Flake. The issue we usually run in with a textured product like Catgut Glitter Flake is an inconsistency to allow it to be 100% durable for the life of the garment as you start to layer color on color. So to get around this, what I've actually done is I've weeded out the inside of my design for two-color glitter flake. This is called a trapping technique. So now instead of directly layering gold on a full block of maroon material, I've actually decorated it so that, or created the artwork in the trapping technique, and I did this in CADWorks Live. So if you're not able to do this in a design software like Corel Draw, we actually have a free online design software for Stahls called cadworkslive.com. And Jody, if you're able to chat into everybody the cadworkslive.com website so they're able to go to it if they want to check this out. It's incredibly easy just to punch out the front design and create a durable finish with this material using the trapping technique. And of course, lots of videos on stahlstv.com that will show you how to do that in the CADWorks Live software as well. So I'm just going to take out my 6x10 again using that quick flange latch because of course that design is going to be a little bit too big for my 6x10 platen. And the same process is going to apply. Of course, I've got zippers, seams, pockets, and all that getting into the way. So that's where these threadable heat presses really make for a nice thread onto the platen. So I've got that on there, the hood, the zipper, all of that hangs below. Allows me to quickly print onto a variety of items like this. So anytime you're decorating with two-color graphics, whether it be glitter flake or a regular heat transfer material, you want to look for a product that's going to allow you to have what's called a multicolor or a two-color step for the application. What this is going to do is it's going to allow me to shorten the first application. So instead of 10 seconds at 320 degrees, I'm going to adjust my timer down to just 5 seconds. What this is going to do is, of course, increase my time so I don't have, or decrease my time so I don't have to worry about too much of a labor cost. Like anytime I can cut a few seconds is great. But secondly, it's going to help reduce the shrinking of the vinyl. You always have a tendency for vinyl to shrink just a little bit, or heat transfer materials to shrink under the heat of the heat press, whether it's 300 or 320 degrees. And that can make alignment, as you're putting a two-color graphic that's so close like this, difficult. So what we want this design to do is we want it to look as if I'm directly layering. We don't want any gap space, and that trapping technique has allowed us to do that. Looks like I got it lined up pretty good there on the black jacket. Because I have a little bit of vinyl exposed here, I do want to cover that with my cover sheet just to protect it from sticking to the heat press. And then I'm going to lock both layers for the full 10 seconds. That 10-second application is going to ensure the heat goes through both layers, the gold and the maroon, and it'll stick and stay and be durable down to the garment. So I can peel back my gold, and you can see it looks as if I have a two-color design, but it's actually two separate layers. And that'll help keep the glitter material, which is relatively thick for a vinyl, also pretty thin, being only one layer instead of layering 2 on 2. Of course, a nice good sparkle for school colors, the maroon and the gold, so keep that in mind as you're starting to decorate items with glitter flake. There's a lot of school shades available. So of course, since all of us are already starting to stock a ton of that glitter material because we love it so much for our schools, I want to show a few other ways that decorators have taken this recently, especially as the in school, campus, and Greek markets, and kind of added personalization and different trendy items to garments. This one's actually a faux pocket design, so if you haven't seen this, it actually takes the image or the mimic as if the garment has actually been screen printed or heat printed with a pocket. Of course, it's just for looks, kind of creates a trendy, preppy look to apparel. Very inexpensive to do since the graphic is only about 5 by 5, so it's a great way to personalize items with a name or a chevron pocket like I've done here. For this lady's t-shirt, I believe I'll be able to thread it on the 16 by 20. If I was worried about it being a little bit smaller shirt, like maybe a size small, I may have to switch to an 11 by 15. Get some of those wrinkles out of there since it looks pretty wrinkled. This helps get some moisture out as well. I know a lot of decorators will skip the preheat step, but I always recommend it, especially with synthetic fabrics or garments where there's a lot of wrinkles involved. Again, I'm just going to take my glitter flake design in that 5 by 5. I've personalized it with the name Delilah. I'm going to go about 3 inches over, 3 inches down for the start of my graphic, for the pocket, and I can apply it for the full 10 seconds. Now we have a completed personalized pocket. Another idea for this is if you're ordering garments that have a pocket on them already, is to monogram them with a glitter flake and add that bling that way, instead of just doing a faux pocket, adding it to an authentic one. So a lot of ways to use the product for a lot of these trendy designs. The last one I'm going to use a single color glitter flake design for is actually one of my favorites. If you haven't seen these oversized shirts trending in the market, they're growing very, very quickly for a lot of schools, Greek apparel, even a lot of small businesses at resort areas like at the beach and things like that for decorators. So what it is basically a garment where the shirts are oversized, so they hang down and they're pretty loose fit, which of course is popular today in the apparel market. The decoration for these tends to be a little bit more difficult because it is typically anywhere between 22 and 26 inches. So of course, no matter what size your heat press is, whether it's 15 by 15, 16 by 16, or 16 by 20, there's no way to really finagle this and be able to get one full complete application onto the garment with this large of a design. So to do this, we have to do it in 2 steps. This is a trick that's done a lot with decorators that decorate to items like tablecloths or long pant legs. So to do this, I'm just going to take my garment, and again, I'm going to thread it open and load it onto my Fusion heat press. That'll ensure that the thick collar isn't going to print through the back area and leave an indentation mark that, of course, is going to ruin the garment or make it look not as high of quality. Once I have the garment on, of course, I've got to go through my heat press step. Now, I want to make sure to preheat from pocket to pocket, since that's the entire area that's going to be customized. So to do this, I'm just pulling the garment taut so that the far end of the shoulder is at the corner of my 16 by 20 platen. Give it a quick preheat to get some of that moisture out. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take that shirt, slide it back over to the full corner, of course making sure all your wrinkles are out of the way so that you don't add a crease to the bottom when you're sliding it over. Give it another quick preheat, and then I've got to find the center of my garment to be able to line up the center of my transfer. To do this, I'm just going to grab the jersey, pull it back to being center, so I want to make the collar within the center of the platen. It looks like I have about the same width on both sides. And then I want to find the center of my transfer to line up with the center of the garment. So I'm just going to take my transfer, fold it, of course, the non-sticky side to non-sticky side, so it's not difficult to pull apart. And I just want to crease the center of the design, just very slightly onto the carrier, so I don't want to crease into the glitter material and cause any distortion there, but just to the carrier so I know that's where the center of the design is. I'm going to take the center of the crease mark where I just had creased it and line it up with the center of the shirt and the tag. Of course, making sure the distance is the same through this line and with the bottom so that I'm applying to the same area. And since glitter flake has a sticky backing, it'll stay in place as I slide this over and heat apply this one side. Now, of course, you want to be careful to make sure when you slide this over that the design is not too far off that it's off of the edge. We often see that being a challenge for decorators. So pull that over to the entire designs on the platen. Apply this for, again, the glitter flakes recommendation of 320 degrees for 10 seconds. And then I can apply it to my second side. So again, I'm just going to take it, slide it over. Now you'll notice this area here is actually getting two applications. This isn't going to cause any problems with durability or any things that you typically will apply color on color when you're doing multicolor designs anyway. So a lot of the times the vinyl will get a second hit. Another 10 seconds on the other side that hasn't been applied. And then we'll have a completed design. Pull this back to the center for impact. Again, I can peel this carrier off. And we have a completed design completely going from shoulder to shoulder. Now, of course, before I show you the finished result here, we want to make more money. We want to sell garments for a little bit more, so we're going to personalize the front as well with a left chest graphic. To do this on the Hotronix Fusion, I can easily pull the jersey shirt back and spin it around so I don't have to completely take it off and reload it if I don't want to. Since I haven't preheated the front, I want to make sure to give it a good preheat to get some of the moisture and wrinkles out of the front. And I can easily drop the name. Now, whenever you're doing the front decoration on these types of oversized shirts, a lot of people for left chest logos I had mentioned will go somewhere in between the armpit and the center of the shirt. So, of course, with this kind of shirt, we would have a left chest graphic that falls a little bit too far over to the side. So I want to make sure to center it more with the center of the shirt, so going over about 3 inches from the center of my shirt, which I usually line up with the tag on the collar, and about 3 inches down as well. Once I have that in place, I can apply it for the 10 seconds. These garments are available from a variety of suppliers. This one's actually from Pennant Sportswear. So it has a area for personalization on the side of the shirt as well. It's a little bit of a heavier cotton. There's also ones with thinner cotton. They offer 2-color designs from suppliers like Boxer Craft. So again, we have the left chest print personalized there and a full shoulder-to-shoulder print with a glitter flake material. So it's kind of the next thing that's trending in these oversized shirts. We've seen screen printing and puff print for a while, and now we're starting to really see bling like rhinestones, glitter materials, and even lace products being added to these oversized shirts. So kind of be first to be able to take on command of those types of shirts with that decoration. The next garment we're going to be looking at is how to mix and match glitter materials with metallics or regular films. One question I always get from decorators is, can I put a glitter material over a metallic? Of course, being able to create tone-on-tone looks like this, where you're mixing a metallic silver with a glitter silver, kind of makes that design really pop and stand out. The nice thing about the metallic background layer that I'm going to be using is it's actually just our CAD Cut fashion film. So CAD Cut fashion film has a softer finish, and actually has a really nice application for using it as a background design, as you'll see here shortly. It's also able to be direct layered over top. So a lot of metallic colors in either regular films or specialty films won't allow you to direct layer glitter over top. This one will allow me to get the design that I'm looking for and layer directly over a metallic film. For this, I'm just using a ladies cut 3/4 sleeve garment from Sanmar. Anytime you can take your garments and upgrade them to something that's a little bit more fitted for ladies, you'll be able to sell it for a little bit more money. Of course, I'm always looking for ways to do that. So I've loaded my garment on. I'll give it a quick preheat before I apply the fashion film heat transfer. Now, fashion film is also one of those materials like glitter flake that allow for the multi-step application, or as I like to call it, the 2-second tack. So with this, I'm just going to line up with the center of my garment, my fashion film metallic. And I'm going to apply it for just 2 seconds down to the garment. Leave this as is. All that 2-second application is really going to do is it's going to release the heat transfer material from the carrier. So of course I wouldn't want to leave my garment ready to go out the door like this with only 2 seconds. I need to make sure it gets its full application, which I'll do once I apply my glitter flake layer. Now, if you remember, the glitter flake heat transfer material does apply at 320 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds. On the other side of the spectrum, CAD Cut fashion film, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, applies at 320 degrees for 15 to 20 seconds. Anytime I'm layering two different materials like this, I want to make sure that both layers are getting enough heat. So of course I want to go on the higher time side for the application. So for this one, I want to make sure I'm getting a full 15 seconds. If you've ever heat applied heat transfer vinyl, especially on a basic finish like you're seeing here with fashion film, you'll notice whenever a carrier actually cuts across the material to leave what's called a carrier indentation or a carrier mark. I'm going to show you a quick trick as I'm applying this for the application on how to remove that as well. If you remember, the glitter flake heat transfer material allows me to do a quick tack. That will help get the carrier off of the garment so that I can apply it for the rest of the application that's required. Of course, if I wasn't doing the two-color application, or wasn't worried about the carrier mark, I would just apply that in the full 15 seconds. You can actually even see there it's already got a little bit of a carrier mark that's been left, so I want to iron that out a little bit with my full application. So final heat seal this time I'm going to do for the full 10 seconds, since I've already gotten 5 and 10. That's the full 15 seconds I needed for both fashion film and CAD Cut glitter flake. There we have a completed design. You can see that carrier mark that was once there and that indention's been removed. We have a high quality garment that we can send out to customers. As you're layering heat transfer materials like this, keep in mind that the fashion film is only about a penny per square inch. So even for metallics, it makes for a great finish to be able to keep the cost low and get a really nice impact design on the garment. Mixing it with the glitter flake, which of course is about 2 cents a square inch for your graphic. I believe Jody said we have a couple of questions, so I'm just going to go back to my main screen and answer those. So if you had questions throughout the first couple garments that weren't answered, go ahead and type those in now as we address some of them. Jody? The question was, I thought you couldn't layer glitter flake. So for CAD Cut glitter flake, we don't recommend that you layer glitter flake over glitter flake. We have many customers that apply glitter flake over products like the CAD Cut fashion film with a lot of success. Okay, great. So I'm going to dive out of a little bit of the glitter flake market and into a couple other unique metallic or specialty films on the marketplace today. Of course, I find it a little bit difficult to believe, but I've heard that bling is not always the biggest thing for decorators, and they're always looking for ways to kind of take designs that maybe are not so glittery and not so sparkly to their customers and upgrade them as well. The next product line we're going to look at looks at another version of metallics that are available for cutting on the vinyl cutter or ordering in custom heat transfers called Fashion Film Electric. I have two different garments I'm going to decorate in a few different areas with this product line since it has a few different unique shades. The first one I'm going to apply is actually one of the prism shades. Just has a unique diamond plate look that really can take designs to the next level, especially for different markets. The second one is just one of the solid colors that has kind of a pearlescent finish. So again, I'm going to go back over to the Fusion heat press and load on my shirt. Take off the glitter and fashion film garment here. Fashion Film Electric is very similar to fashion film. So it has a sticky backing, so I'm able to do really fine detail. A nice application. I can do that same 2-second tack I had done with the silver background layer on the Morgantown soccer design. Get some of that moisture out. And then just like with the fashion film, this product applies at 320 degrees for 15 seconds. So as I had mentioned, you guys can see here kind of the sticky backing that we're able to get and some detail. Of course, I could go even finer on this if I wanted to. Line this up with the garment, apply it for those full 15 seconds. Take my timer up to 15, and I'll lock that down in place. As you're putting materials onto your vinyl cutter and cutting transfers, since a lot of you guys already have vinyl cutters, one thing that I always like to do is be able to offer more personalization. If you're already loading the material on and you already have it in stock, being able to sell more areas to your customers, we'll be able to make more profit per garment. So I'll just hot peel the Fashion Film Electric. And again, that's in the silver prism shade, so you can kind of see the diamond plated look that it gets. So it creates some really masculine, unique metallic finishes for designs and take them to the next level. As you're comparing this product to the single color material that you're already using, it prices at about 1.50 pennies a square inch. So you're only adding 1/2 penny per cost to be able to upgrade your garment to this. And it's extremely soft, very durable, so it's not like a lot of the metallics on the market that crack and peel. This is going to stick and stay and last for the life of the garment. No peeling and no cracking, which is unique for a lot of foil materials. Of course, I want to print more locations, so I'm just going to take out my 16 by 20 platen and drop it with actually a sleeve platen. That's going to allow me to print a unique area onto this garment. If you haven't seen the sleeve and leg platen, it actually drops in perfectly in the Fusion heat press because the bottom of the Fusion is so open underneath to be able to thread garments on like yoga pants or long sleeves of shirts. I'm just going to load on this long sleeve there. The electric can be layered. The question was, can Fashion Film Electric be layered? And it can be, which makes it a nice background layer for products like glitter flake or just doing 2-color metallic finishes. Since I've changed my platen, I need to adjust my pressure just a little bit. That was a little too much. There we go. So I've got the moisture out of there. I've checked my pressure for a full application. And then I can take my design and lay it down the sleeve of my shirt. So again, I'm personalizing more areas of the garment so I can make more money. And the platens that we're using allow us to do that. If you didn't have a platen like this or a heat press like the Fusion where you can thread it on, you could also choose to use a heat printing pillow, which you would just load into the sleeve of the shirt. So give it just a few more seconds. We'll peel this back, and then we'll take a couple of questions. Again, just a nice hot peel that kind of peels away easily. Jody, did I have a question come in?
Yes. You want to walk some stuff you're using here, a cover sheet, some you're not.
A good question. So the question was, why is she using a cover sheet sometimes and sometimes she's not? And the best answer I can give you is sometimes I wear my seatbelt and sometimes I don't. I always recommend using a cover sheet when you have heat transfer material exposed. So if I was going to apply a different heat transfer over top of this and I don't have that plastic carrier safeguarding the vinyl, I would definitely want to make sure the cover sheet would be covering this material. Aside from that, if you're worried about something being stuck on the top of the heat press, it's always a good safety measure just to stick it over the garment, even if you're using a CAD cut material, that just in case something is stuck to the top of the heat press. I use them a lot of the times with white garments, since they typically to show, are able to show the any kind of ink or something on top of the heat press a little bit more. So again, throw this on. Jody, any other questions that came in? Okay, great. So there you can see we've personalized not only the front of this shirt, but also a sleeve decoration as well. You can choose to decorate both sleeves, unique locations, but all of that is possible with these heat transfer materials, being able to decorate with these Bling products. So again, aside from the prison colors available in this Fashion Foam Electric product, one that I really like is just some of the muted finishes that are more metallic. So just giving you an idea of some of the solid metallic finishes. So this is actually one of the most durable metallic heat transfer materials that are on the market. So again, I'm just going to change my platen out to another size, lifting out this sleeve platen and dropping it an 8x10. The 8x10 is actually going to be the perfect size for being able to thread this bag on and get even pressure throughout for the entire design. So as I go to heat print this canvas bag, there's a few challenges I could run into. Obviously the thick zipper, the thick seams, as well as these straps and metal grommets that are holding them on there. So what I've done is I've actually loaded on these 8x10. Just going to thread this on so that way everything on all the bulk hangs below and I've got a flat, even print surface. Checking to make sure I'm centered between the two seams of the bag as well. Because this isn't going to be washed, I don't need to do a preheat. A lot of the times whenever I'm applying to items that are non-wearables, like a bag or a hat, I tend to skip the heat printing or the preheating step since customers are likely not going to be laundering it and I can go ahead and decorate them quicker. Looks like my design is just going to fit on this 8x10. Of course, it's something you want to be cautious of as you're switching out platens and creating artwork, making sure your platen size that's going to be threading the garment will fit for your transfer. And then I'm going to apply for the full application, which is 15 seconds, 320 degrees. Just going to adjust the pressure a little bit so I get a nice medium pressure on there. A medium pressure, for those of you that have Hotronix heat presses, is typically between a 4 and a 6 on the Hotronix heat press. 1 to 3 would be light, and 7 to 9 would be your firm pressure. So just if you're referencing heat transfer application steps, that's something to keep in mind. So again, it's a hot peel release. I can peel that carrier back. And I have a durable metallic finish. This one's great. It's called the magenta color, but it's great for dance apparel, cheer squads, and when you want to add that metallic finish to a garment. The next metallic garment we're going to be looking at is really kind of a unique finish. It's a holographic finish. And a lot of the times what I hear from decorators that decorate with rhinestones, it's just the expense and the cost that they run into whenever they're decorating with stones onto apparel. This product actually gives the illusion or mimics a stone look since it has a holographic or an iridescent finish to it. What we've done is we've actually taken our rhinestone template, which I'll go ahead and peel these layers back so you can see them a little bit better. But the purple here is actually the design cut in just a regular cut form. So you can cut CAD cut hologram in large text designs, clip art, and different things like that, as you would any other CAD cut material for a full iridescent bling finish. And you can also take the product like we've done here and use a rhinestone template with it. So this is just a rhinestone template that we had from the past. And instead of taking the template material or the sticky flock and cutting out the template in our vinyl cutter to create the stone stencil, we actually just cut that pattern out on the hologram material, weeded it out, and it weeds incredibly easy. But pretty much as long as the stones don't glow below an SS10, there's no problem with them peeling up, and you can quickly weed it. They go in and out of everything, so it's just one quick pull. So I'm going to do this two-color application. Now this product does not allow for a fast tack or a multicolor decoration that allows me to speed up the application, so I'm going to have to make sure both layers get the full application. As you're starting to decorate for different bling markets and really wanting to sell garments for even more and make more money off of every garment, Start looking at apparel suppliers and what they're decorating in the marketplace today. I had mentioned briefly, I just came back from a few trade shows, and that Bling was really starting to sell and get bigger than ever. And apparel manufacturers have kind of hung on to that as well. So this is actually a shimmer shirt. So the fabric of the shirt actually has a glitter shimmer to it. So it's another way to take these garments and really make them sparkle and shine by mixing metallics and glitters with these products. And this is just one of the shimmer shirts from Sanmar. They have a variety of tank tops and t-shirts available. Of course, as you're looking for these, there are a few other garments on the marketplace with these glitter and metallic finishes. One's Pennant Sportswear, as well as J America. They have some hoodies and things with this same design. So just go ahead and load it on my ladies fit garment on an 11 by 15 platen. So the 11 by 15 is perfect for some of these really soft, really narrow ladies cut garments, since it won't stretch the shirt when I thread it. I'm also being cautious of the V-neck of the shirt. Of course, the V-neck always presents a lot of challenges for lining up graphics, since decorators typically try to go 3 inches down from the collar. But with a V-neck, you're already down and much more lower than you would be with a crew neck shirt. So I want to be cautious not to go too low as I'm applying my transfer down. Just going to give it a quick preheat to get some of the moisture out of the shirt and also check my pressure. Looks like it's going to need dialed back a little bit from that 8 by 10. There we go. I'm back to the medium I need it to be. A few seconds to get that moisture out of there. Now I'm going to apply the first layer of my hologram, which is going to apply for 10 seconds at 320 degrees. I'm sure you guys are starting to see quite a trend here with heat transfer products. A lot of them apply around the same application, which makes it great as you're wanting to really get creative with these Bling products and mix and match different ones together without having to worry about your heat press heating up or going back down. Hologram is a cold peel, so I'm going to give this a few seconds to cool down. Depending on where you're located, you could always press all of the first colors, throw them off to the side, take them over to a window or a wall or something that pulls out the heat much quicker. See if I can test it. I'm pretty impatient, so I'll usually go close to a warm peel as I can, as long as the adhesives have set. Now I'm just going to line up my overlay layer. Now hologram is one of those products that you cannot direct layer. And by that I mean you can't layer hologram over hologram. I can layer hologram over another heat transfer material, but I cannot put anything over top of this hologram catgut material. Now since all of the purple is actually being covered, I don't need to use a cover sheet for this two-color design. But of course, if you want to be cautious, I would always recommend using one just in case something stuck to the heat press. So we'll give that a second to cool down, since hologram again is that cold peel. So I'm just going to take this off, throw it off to the side. Then I'm going to look at another transfer that's very similar to this kind of holographic sparkle, and it's called a spangle transfer, another holographic design. So as you're looking to add bling to garments, one thing I really like to do is to be able to take a design like this one I have here and mix and match an inexpensive stock transfer with a customized name and maybe a matching glitter flake color, or in a matching holographic color, and that's really going to help cut my costs, as I really want to create full bling garments and keep them low so I can make the most profit per piece as I'm decorating for customers. I'm going to keep the same 11 by 15 platinum for this lady's garment, but I'm sure as you guys could all see as I was showing that spangled design, it's not going to fit this direction, but the bottom platens of the Hotronix Fusion will allow me to take the platen, pull out that knob, and rotate it either landscape or portrait, so that way I can use that same platen on multiple garments without having to completely switch it out. Alright, so I've got my lady's garment loaded on there. Once I have it straight, I'll get some of that moisture out. Just a few seconds. And the spangle transfer actually applies at 320 degrees. For 10 to 15 seconds as well. So I can apply this at the same time as my catgut glitter flake and get it all done in one fast, easy application, as long as there's no error where they're being overlapped or aligned at the same area. Like I have the love in place. I'm going to drop the glitter flake customization underneath the carrier here. So get it about straight and even between the letters. Just going to cover it just to hold down those spangles for the application. So again, I'm at about 10 to 15 seconds for this at 320 degrees. The carrier on the spangle transfer is very, very thin, so you want to be careful as you're grabbing it not to stretch the garment too much. Kind of pull it in a, looks like I've got what the adhesive said there, I pulled it a little bit too much. Pull it in one quick, even motion. That pulled both of them off. Now we have a full sparkle design mixing together a stock spangle transfer, and this one's actually from the Wild Side. So it's just a stock transfer of theirs that they have available, so you can customize the bottom with it. And of course, the more you buy with stock transfers, the less expensive it gets, which makes it great for offering this to a variety of Greek companies, schools, dance teams, and more, as you're personalizing with maybe the glitter flake to give them something different than what they, of course, can buy in a retail outlet. So go ahead and pull this across here. Let you guys get to see how the spangle design really sparkles. And I love mixing it with one of the fluorescent colors of glitter flake because it helps really pull that shade out of the spangle transfer as well. So lay that off to the side, and then we'll go back to that CAD cut hologram transfer since it's cooled down completely for another spangle or faux rhinestone look. Of course, as you're looking at this, this gives the same appearance as a rhinestone, but it's going to cut the cost at about 40 cents to use a material like this, which is about a penny to a penny and a quarter, or a penny and a quarter square inch for the material versus stones. And of course, the process is much more simple. I'm just loading my hologram material in, cutting out my design, and weeding it. I don't have to go through all of the steps that you typically do with rhinestones where you're brushing the stones in and all of that process. Lay that off to the side. I want to look at a few other stock transfer items that are really starting to take the market per storm and more ways to use those. This is actually something that we just recently launched within the last 6 months. We're starting to see it really get picked up in different outlets like Victoria's Secret and different markets like that. And it is actually a glitter material with a lace overlay in it. So it just creates a really unique patterned glitter and really premium finish on garments as you're customizing them and decorating them for different markets. This was just one of the lace rhinestone transfers, and this would come as a stock transfer from the Wild Side, so it would come in the name Dance, and you can personalize it again with any of the products that you have available like CAD Cut Glitter Flake, Hologram. I'm just going to load this on. Sure, Jody, I have a question before I heat apply this. Okay, so the question was, what if when I applied the spangle transfer to the Love shirt, if a few of the spangles had stuck to the transfer as I'm lifting it up, what would happen is likely the adhesive hadn't set yet, so you could just cover it back up, heat press those for another 10 seconds, and then you'll have it'll allow the adhesive to recure down to the garment. Okay, so I've loaded my zip up on, preheat to get some of the moisture out. And then same as I had done with that spangle transfer, I can actually lay out the rhinestone lace transfer here and apply the glitter flake at the same time and temperature since they both apply at 320 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds. Just want to make sure I'm not overlapping the glitter flake. If you're layering materials like this, you want to be careful to make sure that both carriers are not underneath the other actual material. So of course I wouldn't want this carrier underneath to go underneath the lace material as I'm lining it up. Looks like I have them both lined up there, and I'm just personalizing it with CAD Cut Glitter Flake and a complementing glitter color. Go ahead and apply that down for the full 10 seconds at 320 degrees. And there's a variety of colors that are available in both the lace transfers and, of course, glitter flakes. So you can get really unique, but of course the white and black are always my favorites since they tend to allow you to stock that color and be able to decorate a lot of items. So I'll start to hot peel different shades. And the shade of silver that we're actually using for this is called light multi. So there's a few multicolor or iridescent shades that are available as you're printing with catgut glitter flakes. So you can offer unique silver finishes aside from just the basic silver. So you guys can get a nice view of how that kind of really sparkles and shines. It just takes your garment up to the next level. Pricing-wise, for a dance transfer like this, you'd probably be looking somewhere between $4 and $7 depending on your quantity. The Wild Side does allow you to have some price breaks as you start to purchase more. So of course you want to be up at the 6 or 12 plus piece. But of course you can easily see how this would sell to a dance team of say 24 girls very quickly and very easily. So 12 and 24 pieces would be no problem at all ordering these stock transfers. So I'd recommend getting a few of these in very quickly before they really fly off the shelves and more decorators start offering this and being able to go into dance schools and different spirit teams and say, look what we have. This is available for you. We can customize it with your name. Personalize the front as well to be able to sell more garments. And now you're ordering these stock transfers and looking for more ways to sell and complement them with other Bling technologies. We see a lot of decorators complementing rhinestone transfers with glitter heat transfer materials, finding the new ways to use them to cut costs and be able to offer more bling to their customers. And this, again, is just another simple stock transfer, very inexpensive from the Wild Side. Cuts my cost for the front of the garment, but we all know that personalized garments sell more. So what I've done here to get a nice personalized garment inexpensively so I can make more profit per piece is I'm going to mix that stock transfer with a personalized glitter flake name that's been cut. Just going to rotate this bottom platen back so that my full name and number fits when I thread the garment on. And with spring just around the corner, this makes a great design for as you're decorating for baseball moms or girlfriends or softball teams as well to be able to personalize the back. This is just one of the powder puff tees from Boxer Craft. So they've got a few colors available for decorating for schools. I'll thread this onto the front. Get some of the quick moisture out of there. I'm going to apply my first transfer, which is just a stock rhinestone transfer for 15 seconds. Just a few more seconds there, we'll peel that back, and then we'll be able to flip the garment and personalize it with catgut glitter flake. The Wild Side rhinestone transfers are a hot peel as well, which make them nice and production friendly. So we've got a full sparkle design on the front that everybody loves. But of course, to be able to take this very thin, light garment and put a rhinestone name and number on the back, it can get pretty heavy on the garment. So that's the other benefit of being able to use a product like catgut glitter flake on the back, which is a softer hand and is a little bit thinner than, of course, a heavy stone. Quick preheat. I'm going to go ahead and personalize it with that name and number on the back. So you have a few different ways to do this. This is obviously a custom number that we've cut using catgut glitter flake on our vinyl cutter. If you don't have a vinyl cutter, you can order names and numbers very cost effectively, pre-cut, ready just to heat apply from Stahls. So they give you some more options as you're starting to look at fan jerseys and t-shirts like this and personalizing them, even if you don't have a vinyl cutter. There we have a personalized front and back of a fan jersey, something we can sell, especially this spring to any mom, a softball player, girlfriend, cheerleader, anything like that that's planning on going to the game and wants something fashionable. So as we start to move to more bling technologies with metallics, a lot of people always, of course, the glitter flake's great and all of the materials I've shown you, but they're very limited to the colors that they can apply to. So as we start to move to designs with more colors or gradients and different artwork like this, there was never a way in the past to be able to add bling to these types of designs, to be able to upgrade them and sell them for even more. In today's market, there's now a product that's available for decorating performance wear that applies at a low temperature. It's soft, it's thin, it's stretchable, and really complements the fabrics that we're decorating and allows us to decorate them with metallics. So this is just a hot pink or a fuchsia garment from Sanmar in their Sport Tech line. Of course, another V-neck, so I want to be cautious of that as I'm lining up my graphics. And for this garment, I typically would apply this at 280 degrees. Of course, for all of my applications so far today, I've been up around 320, so I'm just going to start taking my heat down to 280, so that way it's a little bit better for this transfer in this garment type. When you start decorating performance wear, it's always nice to be able to find a product that applies at a low temperature. That way it helps prevent the scorching. And this product, while it will apply up at 320 degrees without any durability issues, the 280 degree temperature will allow me to do a little bit more. I'm just going to line up that material. Now with these transfers, they're called, the material is called foil tech. So for those of you that have a solvent or eco-solvent printer, you can actually print these full color logos by ordering the foil tech metallic gold material and printing them on your solvent printer. If you don't have a solvent or eco-solvent printer, a lot of these shades are available in the CAD Prints product line from Stahls, and they're just called foil tech. But because of the clear carrier being so thin, I do want to make sure to use a cover sheet when I apply this. This product has a two-step application, so I'm going to do 2 hits of 5 seconds for a full 10-second application. The reason I'm splitting it up into two applications is just because of this very thin carrier, and I want to be able to remove it as quickly as possible. Of course, because it's such a thin material, you want to be careful when you peel the carrier not to rip and grip, because it can kind of stretch it a little bit. That way it won't distort your image in any way. Again, another 5 seconds so I can get to the full 10. And I have a full color metallic finish on a garment. Performance wear, again, it's soft, stretchable, and it's going to allow you to be able to personalize more items for your customers with metallics and bling finishes. So that's the metallic gold shading, but of course the metallic gold is a little bit different from the silver. As you start to print on colors like metallic silver or metallic white, you can actually get that pearlescent metallic foil finish that you're looking for with the true colors. Of course, gold's going to change your coloring a little bit. So this I'm going to apply to a charcoal shirt using the Fashion Foam Metallic 2, or the Foil Tech product, sorry. Double check to make sure my design is going to fit on this 11 by 15 platen so I don't have to change it out. That's the nice thing about the 11 by 15 platen is it's really versatile. As long as your design is going to fit on the garment, you can use it for large ones or small ladies fit garments. I tend to think there's a little less room for error as I start to minimize the area that I'm printing. Get some of that moisture out of there. Take my CAD Color Foil Tech product in the metallic silver. And mixing metallic silvers like this on top of a dark shade like charcoal is really popular for customizing sports apparel and being able to take designs, instead of applying them to a black or a white shirt, the charcoal is really a trending color that we've seen over the last 6 months or so. Remember, this is that same Foil Tech product, so I just want to apply it down for the 5 seconds. Remember, this carrier is a little bit thin, so as I'm pulling it, you can see I wouldn't want to do the rip and grip method. It could cause this large of a graphic to stretch a little bit. Get rid of the carrier there, and I'm going to apply it for another 5 seconds so I have a full, completely durable life of the garment print. With these Foil Tech transfers, again, remember there's no cracking, no peeling, no fading, so you're getting another durable metallic finish onto the garment for your customers. give you some idea of how that metallic really sort of shines and shimmers for your customers as they're out playing sports, looking for, different school apparel and spirit wear for the year when you're printing uniforms. So we'll get ready to wrap up today, but as we're doing that, I want to go ahead and take time for you guys to type in your questions, anything you've missed today, questions you had from garments we've decorated. Now would be the time to kind of stop to type those into Jody, and we'll go ahead and address those as we end today's presentation. Jody, did I have any questions come in that I haven't answered? Okay, great. Well, like I said, if you have any questions, continue to type those in. We really appreciate you guys coming and joining us today. And taking time out of your day. Hopefully you've learned some new trends and ways to use your vinyl cutters, heat presses, and more with Bling Technologies. There will be a survey at the end, so if you could fill that out, let us know how we're doing, things you'd like to see, tips and different tricks as well in upcoming Stahls TV classes. We'd really appreciate it. But I'm Courtney Kubitza with Stahls TV, and thanks for attending.